The Arctic Ocean, 1958. The United States Navy's first nuclear-powered submarine, the USS Nautilus, dives deep below the waves outside of radio contact. A sailor inside the submarine holds up a series of cards that have various shapes printed on them. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in Maryland, a psychic tries to visualize the cards the sailor is presenting using only the power of the mind.
With the sub under the Arctic ice cap, they did several runs of completely shuffled cards. I believe it was 160 guesses. 112 turned out to be correct when everything was compared after the sub came up. That's a 70% hit rate. The Soviets heard about this. They did a check, apparently, with some sources who said, yes, that's what happened, and decided to start spending, turned it out to be billions of dollars to investigate the possibility of telepathy as well as other psychic phenomena.
While the U.S. Navy denied these psychic tests were taking place, the rumors alone inspired the Soviet Union to invest in programs with the goal of developing psychic weapons.
The Soviets started to recruit special people to help them with their studies. They recruited one woman named Nina Kulagina. Nina Kulagina was from Ukraine, and she was a housewife who said that she could control different objects without touching them.
She was mainly able to ostensibly move objects with psychokinesis, with mind over matter. At one point, they had her try to use her psychokinesis to try to stop the heart of a frog, and it did. At least that was what was reported.
Is it possible to turn someone's sixth sense into a deadly weapon? While it's a matter of debate, we do know that this Soviet program would trigger a top-secret psychic arms race.
American intelligence realized, oh my goodness, they're getting ahead of us. We need to start our own psychic spying program. They wanted to see if they could have people who were psychics get information about the Soviet Union where their satellites could not get information. This was a form of clairvoyance, the ability to see objects or events from a distance, called remote viewing.
According to declassified documents from 1972 to 1995, the CIA, Army, and Defense Intelligence Agency engaged in a joint effort to recruit and train remote viewers as psychic spies for the American government. This top-secret program was called Project Stargate.
The Stargate program ran from 1972 to 1995. During that period, there were 20 people on staff. There were 9 consultants and 2 visiting scientists. I was one of the visiting scientists, and I was there for the calendar year 1985. It took me about 9 months to get all of the clearances, because it ended up having to be a top-secret clearance. If an agency came and asked, could you look into this thing, whatever it happened to be, these remote viewers would do their best to describe what it is. The CIA and then the FBI and a bunch of other agencies, they came back again and again and again. There were something like 450 missions that these remote viewers were asked to do. So somebody somewhere found it to be useful.
In an unassuming building in Fort Meade, Maryland, Project Stargate's military unit performed hundreds of remote viewing missions. And one of these psychic spies was a gifted Army officer named David Morehouse.
In 1986, I was recruited to become a member of what at the time was called Sunstreak. Now everyone knows it as Project Stargate. In a remote viewing session, you're going to be over in the viewing room. What you're doing is calling together all of your senses to go to a target that is unbeknownst to you, to determine what the temperature might be, what the sounds are that you're hearing, what the visual representations of things are that you're perceiving. Now you're developing an overall picture of it and then putting a summary together and turning it in. 3 targets a day, 90 minutes each, working it.
Remote viewers used their psychic abilities to search for lost spy planes, peer inside top-secret military facilities, and even targeted wanted criminals for the United States government. Just how successful were they? December 21st, 1988. Pan Am Flight 103, bound for the United States, mysteriously explodes in midair over the town of Lockerbie, Scotland, killing all 259 people on board and 11 on the ground. And while a traditional investigation is launched, Morehouse and a team of psychic spies at U.S. Army Base Fort Meade begin their own analysis of the shocking event.
Pan Am Flight 103 blew up over Lockerbie, Scotland. We, of course, didn't know this. We were assembled, and we did our work. We identified it as an explosion. We were even able to identify where the explosion came. Below the passenger level, in front of the leading edge of the right wing. We were the first to identify the explosive device being hidden inside of a boombox. What the remote viewing team did was provide essential information to at least determine, in part, what happened on that fateful night.
Project Stargate was officially shut down in 1995. But considering the project's longevity and reported success, you have to wonder, is it possible that the United States government still uses psychic spies today?
Do I believe that the Central Intelligence Agency is still utilizing remote viewing, buried it somewhere deeper, darker, more protected in some other intelligence agency, whether it's the NSA, Directorate of Science and Technology, or some other agency, as they're evolving? Yes, of course they are.